Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Cody Curry here, and this is 110 SAS Actual. Brugger and Thomit B&T APC.308. That's what we have for you today. An 18-inch barrel, large frame 308 rifle. The APC in the name is an acronym for Advanced Police Carbine. Now, B&T is a relatively new name to the game here in the States and fairly new in the world until late 2018, early 2019. They dropped the APC.308 here stateside. It's been referred to as the Swiss Scar and even better than the Scar. Now, when statements like that are made, well, it has my attention. So, we picked one up. This is the DMR version here, meaning it's not your typical rifle link weapon. It's right in between a carbine-sized platform and a rifle-sized platform. Long enough to get good muzzle velocity and just short enough to run and gun with. So, let's talk about how I've got this one set up here today. Now on top, this is a 1.5 to 6 Elkin. It's an exceptionally durable optic and one tough enough to handle the Scar's recoil impulse. So I thought it'd be a great choice and great match for the Swiss Scar. We've got a PEC 15 laser here for nods work. This here is the stock flash hider. The trigger out of the box, we've got a two-stage trigger on it. It features an ambi bolt release and bolt catch, which I do like and I'm very excited to run. An ambi mag release and ambi safety here as well. A side folding stock here that we added and really helps keep it compact for traveling and higher mobility when needed. It's a reciprocating charging handle here, so watch your thumb, boys. M-lock rails here and a fluted barrel. So, let's get this Swiss piece out to the range and make some Swiss cheese out of some targets. So gentlemen, is it a Rolex or a Timex? Let's hear it in the comments. First, let's start with recoil impulse. Now, if you've ever ran a Scar, you know exactly what I'm gonna say here. A considerable amount of mass is being moved when the gun goes bang. The bolt carrier group, the charging handle, it's all right there crashing back right into your cheek and right into your shoulder. It's not exactly a pleasant thing to shoot. I found it's actually a little more violent than a Scar, except it weighs 10.5 pounds stripped. You'd think that some of this weight would help manage some of that recoil, but no. In my opinion, I thought quite the opposite. Not a pleasant ride here. And if it's anything like a Scar, lasers and optics, beware. It might be out to get you. Now, for the trigger, it's a 2-stage trigger right out of the box, so that's great. But that's kind of where the greatness ends. It's an extremely long pull from first stage to second stage to the break, and then the reset is long. And my splits absolutely suffered for it. Probably one of the slowest guns I've been able to run. The whole gun is just kind of slow. It seems even the entire bolt carrier takes its sweet time getting back, ejecting the spent case, and getting back into battery. The actual break of the trigger is atrocious. I've found a considerable amount of creep in it. The second stage break of the trigger is by far the most important. That final break needs to be nice and crisp like a candy cane break. The B&T second stage break is not that. In the video, you can see a considerable amount of grit, creep, and multiple tiny little spots of resistance and movement before the hammer finally lets loose. It's abysmal. It needs to go. The B&T APC.308 is fully ambidextrous, meaning it has an ambi safety, mag release, bolt release, and bolt catch. I was very excited for this. More manufacturers need to start doing this. However, when I got to the range, it was a different story. The safety, bolt catch, and release were very stiff, like to the point where it was past difficult. There were a few times I questioned myself. I thought I might have been doing the wrong thing and pushing the wrong direction. No, it's just that stiff. I could drop the safety and bolt release with relative ease with just one finger, but the bolt catch and putting the safety back on, well, it was pretty difficult. Instead of just like an effortless switch like most of the AR platforms are, this required much more attention. And I really had to torque it up to get the safety back on. The bolt catch was also just really difficult. It was exceptionally stiff. Now, I don't know if this is an intentional thing or just needs a good break-in, but out of the box, really disappointed with how they execute these controls. The actual layout of the controls is fantastic. It feels nice and well thought out, but it just has very little movement to make it an intentional action. While the safety here is nice and big, it's easy to manipulate, but it also gets caught on a lot of your gear. And when you disengage it here, it gets caught right here on my finger. So it's a heavy gun. It sits heavier on your hand, which means it's gonna sit deeper in your hand. So this part right here, it just rides on my hand. Now, to the point where it actually cut me here. I was actually bleeding here on the range. So next time, I'm probably gonna wear some gloves. It's a terrible design really, but your hands could be different. Now, on accuracy, we do have a positive note. We were able to pull 0.91 MOA, 6 10-shot groups out of 175 Sierra Gold medal match. The best group being 0.79. Sub MOA out of a large frame AR like this, I should say large frame rifle like this, is pretty good. As far as reliability goes, every time I asked it to, it went bang. So what more can you ask for it? I would like to note though that we did have a pretty consistent ejection pattern between 1 and 2 o'clock. Now on an AR, that's a symptom of being overgassed. On the Swiss Scar, I'm not too sure what that means, so I just wanted to note that. But regardless, it went bang every time I told it to, so personally, if it's a bad thing, I'm not too sure I really care. Overall, to sum this up, with the B&T APC.308, I'm just not exactly thrilled with it. To me, it's a more expensive SCAR that weighs 2.5 pounds more than a SCAR 17, a harder recoil impulse, a mediocre trigger, and a hand-cutting safety. For me, this one won't be hanging around. I'd rather pick up a SCAR 17, and to be honest, I don't really think that much of the SCAR 17 to begin with. So gentlemen, that is a wrap. Thank you for the views, and be sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment for the algorithm. Until next time, gents, take it easy.